Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining today. I'm happy to have you here, and we'll be talking about metrics for your quality system, most specifically in the medical device industry. Our agenda today will talk about why do we need metrics. We'll spend a bit of time talking about a balanced scorecard, what that is, and how to develop that. And then we'll talk about many of the factors that are useful to consider in developing metrics for your business. We'll cover methods for developing your metrics and your dashboards. And then, as Alan mentioned, we'll have time for questions at the end. We won't be doing any statistics today, so don't worry. You don't have to calculate a standard deviation or a CPK. That's a very separate, detailed topic. But we will cover metrics for medical device industry. And the first thing I want to introduce you to is the acronym of metrics. That means measure everything that results in customer satisfaction. And the piece about customer satisfaction is really an important thing. It raises the question of who is the customer. And we're going to spend a bit of time on that topic because that's really important to understand as you develop your metrics. So, why do we need metrics? Well, it's obvious that the FDA expects us to do that, but that's really not the best reason for using metrics. We do it because it makes sense, because it helps us to deliver improved product quality, and it helps us to run the business. We know that the FDA is actually spending a lot of time in terms of understanding metrics and developing that as part of their strategy. They have, in the past years, used the QSIT approach, the Quality Systems Inspection Technique, to inspect companies, and that has really been very much focused on compliance. Do you have procedures? Do you follow your procedures? And what I think the FDA has realized is that is not always preventing companies from having compliance issues, from having recalls. So ultimately, the FDA is focused on protecting the public health, and they are following their strategy of quality and using metrics as an early warning sign of manufacturing problems, of quality problems. Both the pharma side and the medical device side are working on this. On the pharma side, ISPE and PDA are leading activities. On the medical device side, MDIC is doing a lot of work in terms of metrics. The FDA's long-term strategy is to use metrics to do risk-based inspections. So we should see sometime in the future that they are looking at these metrics and then deciding, oh, this company's metrics here are going south. We need to go there and do an inspection. And ultimately, they hope that that is going to prevent product quality issues from getting out into the field. And that should ultimately reduce recalls and complaints. So expect to see a lot more of this happening in the future. There's an old saying that says, if you can't measure it, you can't control it. If you can't control it, you can't manage it. And if you can't manage it, you can't improve it. So that's really where we need metrics to help us be able to measure things and ultimately control, manage, and improve them. There's a lot of evidence that says companies that use good data make better decisions, and ultimately that they're going to be more successful in the long run. So as I mentioned, CDRH is doing a lot of work in terms of metrics, and they're working on their Case for Quality initiative. And a part of that includes a working group focused on medical device quality measures. Their goal is to create predictive internal measures of device quality across the product lifecycle. So they're looking everything from pre-production, design, clinicals, as well as production and post-production clinicals, complaints, etc. Their deliverable in the next period of time is to create a set of critical metrics that yield aggregated metrics and are indicators of product quality. So this was what Steve Silverman said in his public presentation on the Case for Quality last October. If you want to stay on top of what's going on with this, MDIC, the Medical Device Innovation, I don't know what the C's for, is working on this topic actively. So the FDA actually has a pilot going on for battery operated devices, implantable battery containing devices. And they are going to use this to establish critical to quality characteristics, CTQs, for these devices, and then base their inspections on that. So, the upside of that is that if your product quality metrics look good, it may mean you have less risk of being inspected. And so they'll be doing prioritized 483s based on this. And they're going to be looking over a period of time to see if this pilot helps improve quality and resource allocation. So it's really interesting to see how that is going. There are several companies, large companies, battery containing implantable devices that are partnering with the FDA on this pilot. So let's take a step back and talk about what a quality system is. And basically, as a medical device company, we receive a set of regulations from the entities where we want to sell our products. I'll probably say FDA a lot during this inspection. And when I say that, I also mean all the other regulatory bodies like the EU and Health Canada and BISA, etc.